So we're going to do an overview of a demo of the system, talk about use case scenarios, how to get the most out of it, and then you can ask questions by texting. That'd probably be the easiest way. And then we'll also do follow-up as well. So if you want a further demo, a one-on-one demo later, we can definitely organize that. I will share the link to this video with everyone, and then you can reply back to me if you want a more in-depth demo of the system. Okay. All right, so what you're going to see is I'm going to screen share now. And what you're seeing is, let me know, is it up? Can everybody else see it? Can the panelists see it?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
great.
that looks good, Brian.
Cool. So what you're seeing is a screen share through my laptop through Zoom of a tablet that's sitting on my desk next to me, and it's connected to, from my house to the office. That was Nigel's hand that just came in there. It's live streaming from, let's call SET is our office. And it's streaming through this server, which is the main part of the system, where it has a patch bay here where you can put video signals in, and then a separate audio signal as well. And it's streaming right now 2 cameras, and you can switch between the camera sources up here. And I'm live streaming from SET, and I'm in a channel 1 here, where you're seeing there's 3 of us in the same channel. So that's, in this case, who's in there with me? Nigel and Nathaniel are in there with me. So when I draw on the screen, I'm color-coded red. You can see my little icon there at the bottom. And if I want to say, let's move the lava lamp over to here, because everyone should have a lava lamp in their chute. And then Nigel can see exactly what I'm doing, what I've asked him to do, and match it up. So that's the simplest example of how you can use this system to communicate remotely, near SET, whether you're 10 feet apart or 600 miles apart. Like, for instance, Nathaniel's in Fredericton, which is, what, 300 miles from where I am right now?
I'd be about that, yeah.
Yeah.
3.5 hour drive or so.
And you can do this in multiple channels. You can have many conversations going on at the same time. So if I go, for instance, to channel 2, I'm looking at a still frame that was taken earlier. Or I can go to another channel where there's something completely different happening. Let's see, channel 4. I think I set something up in there. Actually, I'll pull something up, like a storyboard panel, for instance. So those are the killer bees attacking the guy in the boardroom in a very important scene in the movie.
When I drew this, I did not realize that it would be presented in this context.
Yeah. Or you could be in a different channel and talking about something having to do, let's say, with locations. So you could say, oh, there's the SET, City Hall is the SET, let's park the trucks over here. Let's make sure the generator is here. And then this can be saved as a still frame for reference later. Everything's saved in the system, on the server itself, which is let's see, this guy right here, and that sits on SET with the camera feeds plugged in. But I can access anything that's ever been shot on the show. So if I go to the library, for instance, there's different ways to search for things on the library. But if I even just want to search for the things I selected as my favorites, I can find them really quickly, and then I'm playing them back in the channel. So now we're seeing playback of something that I recorded, I don't know, probably 2 or 3 weeks ago. And you can play back in sync multiple cameras. It can do up to 4 cameras. This unit is a 2-camera unit. And like if I pause there, for instance, you can see where the marker is there and where the clock is right now, and switch to B camera. I'm going to see it in exactly the same position in the timeline of that clip that was recorded.
And while Brian is seeing that frame, me in Fredericton, I'm seeing the exact same frame that Brian is seeing. So
Same
like
here in my office in Charlottetown as well, because we're all in the
like
same channel.
yeah, like Brian mentioned, if you're the group members in a channel, which are the three of us down here, we want to make sure that if you're in the same channel and you're discussing a piece of content, that not only that you're discussing the same piece of content, which is, we can always see which item that we're looking at by looking in the top left corner. So right now we're looking at a piece of playback that was recorded at a slate, and the slate is episode 0, scene 1, shot 1, take 44. But we can actually be sure that we're looking at the exact same frame of that video as well. And that's when we go from camera A to camera B, or when we bring up a new piece of content, or if I switch us over to live, we're all switching over to live, and we're seeing now exactly what the camera is seeing on set in Charlottetown.
So just that little bit of an explanation, guys. That was Nathaniel controlling what we were seeing. And earlier on, that was all Brian controlling what we were seeing. But now Nathaniel, as long as we're all in the same channel, you're all going to see the same things. So if we wanted to talk about something different, like Brian had mentioned, you can hop into other channels, and we have up to 12 channels available for all different kinds of conversations. And usually it's kind of set up walkie-talkie style. So
Yeah, in fact, you can see who's in your channel. So Nathaniel, if you jump to another channel, you even see in real time that you've left that channel and gone to a different channel. And so if you want to get him back into your channel, just let him know that you want him back in the channel, and then you can see who's also joined recently and who's in there currently, and then you can start the conversation about that content. So we've seen this system used not just for onset communication, near set communication, offset, but also in pre-production as well, pre-lighting, pre-rigging, even in production meetings, where you might have a roundtable discussion that might have to change with 6 feet distance between everyone. You could be able to use this system to pull up content on a laptop plugged into the system and discuss everything from storyboard panels to set diagrams, all while drawing on the screen and being able to articulate what you need and saving it for reference. Just another example is the chalkboard feature. So this is just a blank space to be able to do the same sort of thing, where you could basically football play out your moves or your setup for a particular scene. So you might have a table here and a desk here, for instance, and actor A is there, and the first camera position is over here, and the actor's going to sit like that. It's just a quick way to describe exactly what you want to do. And we've found it's changed the way conversations have happened. It's sped them up exponentially. And Greg actually has joined us because he's used the system. If you want to tell us a little bit about your experience using the system, how it's helped you.
Yeah, Brian, thanks. And it really has been the solution that we've been looking for quite some time. I come from the old IATSE camera department world, and I used to be the Video Village guy. So I go way back to like schlepping coax cable all over movie sets and tripping people, etc. So even back in those days, I was like, why isn't this wireless? So when we had the opportunity to use it this past fall, we had a significant commercial project that we were shooting in Toronto where, geez, we probably had 5 people on, well, three or four people from client side, 4 people from agency side, and then our full crew, which was probably, I don't know, 10 people on the crew. And we were shooting in very small, intimate spaces. And in fact, the focus of what we're shooting was animals. So, you do not want to bring a full crew and a whole bunch of gear when you're shooting a dog or a cat, for whatever it is that you're doing. So for us, we were able to create an experience where everybody felt they were inside the room, on the set. And I didn't feel, I happen to be directing this piece, I didn't feel disconnected from our clients or our agency at all. One of the fears I would have in shooting in that environment previous to this where clients not allowed to come on set just because of the dynamics was I had full confidence that they really enjoyed the shot. They understood what we were trying to do. I had feedback back and forth. Oh look, we're gonna figure out how my video works.
Yeah, video. There we
I
go.
just figured it out. They changed
There
the
we go.
settings.
Yeah, and we are a bunch of video makers, and yes, we did it. We did it. Yeah. So that was great. One really funny thing is the amount of hilarity that happens with it, because everybody wants to like doodle draw over each other's faces and stuff. So the amount of play that happens on it as well. I don't think you guys intended that, but it's actually kind of fun. And in a way, culturally on set, as long as people, know their limits, it kind of brings the spirits up a little bit because, people actually have fun using it, especially the folks who are sitting watching the monitors and are actually not, hauling gear and whatnot. They've got time to really explore the different channels and the different features. So I found that a lot of fun. For me, the main thing as a director in this case was my constant communication with the creative director from the agency that I was working with, and also doing double checks with our client. So it was bang on. It was great, and excited to use it again. We're using it again next week or next 2 weeks for a very significant project. So we trust the system and excited to grow with you guys.
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about that next project, how you're using it with the offset access?
Yeah, well, I know that there's a new feature for you guys. When COVID hit, the first thing that went through my head was, how are we going to keep this business going if we can't send crews places, right? And then the second thought was, well, when we can send crews places, how are we going to be able to do that? And as we are evolving, I just got off the Real Screen Summit last week, and those 3 days of online. And everybody from Discovery to Nat Geo to Netflix, everybody has the same problem. Big crews are, for now, a thing of the past, and that's one of the interesting things about post-COVID filming realities is we can't plan on sending massive crews. So how do we keep communication super tight with our agencies, with our clients, if we can't bring them on set? Because straight up, we just can't bring them on set. So we're bringing Onset. So we're shooting this project in Toronto with a celebrity who is giving us 3 hours. It's one of those scenarios. So there's no room for error at all. And of course, the budget is at the point where you do not want to shoot something without client approval and then find out later that it didn't work. So we have agency and client stakeholders with the screens, with the units, as well as us on the production team. And this whole thing is being directed remote. We've got an awesome in-city team who we will be leading. And really, it wouldn't be possible without the technology that you guys are helping us with. So really excited to see that this is now available over the internet. And I'm sure there's a whole bunch of encryption, exciting, nerdy things we could talk about, but that's not the purpose of this call. But I trust that the security is there too, that we've got a seamless experience.
Yeah,
It is, Greg.
Yeah.
I knew it was. I didn't have to ask.
Yeah.
I just know it is.
Yeah, end-to-end encrypted, everything that you'd want as far as security goes.
Awesome.
But one thing for us, just like it's exciting to be able to empower productions to occur in such a time where there is so much change and uncertainty. But we really want to be able to take away some of that uncertainty when you're working remotely, where we can give you exactly what the camera is seeing. You don't need to be sitting locally on set at Video Village or directly behind the camera to be sure that you're seeing exactly what that camera frame is.
Yeah, that's the nice thing is as we've been talking to a lot of the industry people, we've heard everything from basically having somebody on set with a phone and their job is to basically just Google Hangout or Zoom the entire room. But with our technology, we're taking it another step. We're giving you eyes through on-set monitors. You're going to see exactly what the camera is seeing, which is incredibly invaluable for people trying to get back to work.
And actually, just since you bring that up, I'm not sure, we didn't really have a plan for when we would discuss this new feature that Greg actually hasn't seen yet, but we can actually kind of do a combination of what, seeing exactly what the camera is seeing, the exact framing of A or B or A, B, C, D cameras. But we can also let you take pictures with the tablet camera and then discuss those, in your channel as well. So not only what the production camera is seeing, but you can actually use the tablet camera to take a picture of, of a setup. If you're doing like a tabletop commercial and you want to get a different angle, but the cameras, you don't want to touch those or move those, you can just use one of our tablets and take a picture of that, get that for reference. If it's just going to be you going in as props and putting things back where they were, or if you want to discuss, what about this angle, or for setup or things like that as well.
Paul, to answer your question about how many tablets can be connected, locally, we support up to 12 tablets at a time. And part of the solution is we do have tablets that we send out. We do that for one. They have a battery adapter, a built-in battery adapter on the back, so that you can hot swap batteries and completely be wireless, not worry about the tablet's battery life. And for the offset tablets, it really just depends on your upload speeds for where the server is. So we typically right now, with like a 10 megabytes per second or megabits per second upload speed, we support up to 2 tablets. But it's really at the limitation of the internet speeds where the server is sitting.
Actually, I'll do it.
And go ahead, Brian.
I'll screen share again and show you how you can take a picture now. So does everybody see the screen again?
Yep.
So basically now I'm looking out my backyard and take a picture and save it. I can add notes to it if I want. I can edit the slate information, which is up there on the top left side, or I can load it into the channel. So now it's loaded into the channel, and then if I draw over top of it, I can take a picture of that again, and so I can make visual notes on top of the image that I just took. So we've seen that being used for like location scouting or set deck, taking continuity photos for set deck. Same thing with hair, makeup, and wardrobe can do the same sort of thing. And it just allows them to also access the cameras on the tablets for that other job that they need to do, which is constant reference for continuity.
We haven't gone through and done a recording yet, Brian.
Okay, we can do that. Yeah, for sure. So we'll go to the live stream. So it will record up to 4 cameras simultaneously, whatever's connected to the system, and depending on the kit you get. So then you enter the slate, you enter the metadata within the slate so you can find the clip more easily, and then start recording. And now it's recording both cameras simultaneously. And when I stop recording, I have some options that come up right away. I can add notes, change the metadata, rate the clip. Let's say it's a no good take, and either load it in the channel and start playing it right away. So now we're seeing playback instantly of what we just recorded. Or
with the synced cameras on
A
and B.
Yeah. Yep, totally in sync with sound. Or load up another slate and hit record right away again. Just two taps and you're recording again.
And every time we do a recording, we're going to auto increment the take in the slate for you as well. So when you do that, like, quickly roll into the next recording, it's going to auto advance that take for you.
Cool. So, any other questions anyone has so far?
As questions are coming in, I just want to say that's another thing that I really enjoyed was looking at takes at the end of the day or the next day, just going back into the tablet, not going onto hard drives or into the cards, and fantastic.
So one of the questions was, how does this affect Scripty? We are working with Scripty actually for integration. Right now, it doesn't replace Scripty, the job you would use Scripty for itself, but you can use it as your video feed for grabbing still frames, or you could use it as the solution for, at the very least, monitoring and communicating, especially on the continuity side of things where you have, you know, let's say, for instance, in between takes, if I just go back to sharing the screen again real quickly. The best case scenario is where you're looking at things in between takes and saying, oh, that wasn't set back in the same spot as last time. Can you move it, you know, to here instead where it was in the last take? And just very easily communicate that, and everyone knows exactly what you're talking about. So SetDeck can go in and quickly make the adjustment. You can be doing this in a completely separate channel. So you know, you as a script supervisor with the set deck, for instance, and hair, makeup, and wardrobe could all be in a different channel, and having this visual conversation about continuity issues. You know, let's get rid of that potted plant that wasn't there in the last take, or that wasn't in the right spot, for instance, or there's a malfunction with your hair or something like that. And you can very easily point out exactly what the issue is to that department, and then they can deal with it really quickly. And no one else has to even know that conversation is necessarily going on. You're just able to do that discreetly.
Eric, your question was, can you see multiple cameras on one screen? Right now, our solution for that is to supply you with a quad splitter, and just basically put quad splitter in to our inputs, and then we can split the video signal into up to 4 or 8.
Yeah, so scenarios where we've seen that too is where let's say it's a 2-camera shoot. You either just send both cameras to a channel, for instance, and then it's just a split screen like that, where the 2 images are side by side. Or you could have a 3-camera unit, and then the 3rd channel, C, could be the split screen. So you could look at each individual in full frame, and this is full HD as well. That's streaming both locally and offset. So whatever I'm not sure what resolution looks like on your end. It depends on your internet connection right now through Zoom, but it looks as good to me with my tablet as it does on set, looking at a standard monitor.
So there was one in the Q&A. From a motion control perspective, can multiple takes be mixed or overlaid? And that's by Nigel.
Okay. Do you mean like for effects work? If it's for effects work, we don't have a way to overlay right now, but we are working on a feature where you can grab a still frame from any reference material you want, bring that into the system, and then overlay that with the live stream. Did that answer your question? I'm not sure if it did or not.
I haven't heard back, but I'll keep an eye out.
Okay, cool.
Tanya also asked how to connect monitors or tablets. So they are our tablets. They're specific. They have integrated battery solutions. So this is a case here, and you slide the battery in the back. We do that also for just to make sure that it's all consistent. All of the settings are they're all the same across all of our tablets. So if you're grabbing a tablet at the beginning of the day, it's going to be the same as it was yesterday, even if it wasn't the exact same tablet. And 12 at a time locally per access point. And that's another thing that we can support is basically the distance from the server or the distance from the access point, which is beaming out a Wi-Fi signal, is a 100-meter radius. And we can daisy chain and link so it makes that that radius bigger. And essentially it's limitless with with the power over Ethernet injectors, but 100-meter radius is what the kit comes with out of the box.
And that doesn't require the internet to function. The only time you need
Mhm.
the internet is when you're going offset. And there was a question about how secure that is. So basically onset, it's essentially air gapped in terms of how the tablets connect to the system. There's no way you can walk by and pick the signal up and log in. The tablets are physically paired to each kit before they go out. So, and same with offset, the tablets are physically paired with each kit that it belongs to. So you have a direct pipeline to that unit on set through a VPN encrypted on both ends. So it's extremely secure.
Yeah. When it comes to onset tablets, like it's the only way to get access to the network that we create with those access points that Nigel was talking about is to actually have, like Brian mentioned, a tablet that gets plugged into our server. And one of the reasons why we provide you with the servers that we control is that when we do that pairing, we actually go in and with Android are able to change as many settings as we want. So we don't even know the password that gets assigned to our network. That information is only transferred once you plug that tablet in. So I can't go to set, see our Wi-Fi network, and take my phone and log into it. Like me as somebody who has helped develop this product, I don't know what the password is. So onset is extremely secure. And then when it comes to offset, basically it's essentially the same sort of process that occurs. Our tablets are completely configured to an individual server. Let's say if a tablet gets misplaced or anything like that, we can lock out that tablet remotely, and then it will no longer have access to any information that is contained on our servers. Another thing that we do is, despite the fact that I have this tablet here sitting on my desk and I have access to all of the data that is stored on the server in Charlottetown, none of that data is actually saved on to this tablet. The only way I have access to that data is with the connection over the World Wide Web from here to Charlottetown. So if that connection gets broken, I lose all access to all of the data. Nothing's saved on my machine.
So there's another question about renting. So yeah, our solution is to rent, and in Atlanta you can rent through PC&E. And I forgot to introduce Paul and Stephen are on the line here as attendees to answer questions as well. And if you want to get in touch with them about rental, that's the best place to go. See, and the price range, I can tell you just briefly, the price range, it depends on what you want in your kit, how many tablets, how many access points, how many camera solutions you want, but the price range from about $500 a day to $1,600 a day, and then discounts based on long-term rentals.
Brian, I did get a response or a clarification from Nigel, who was asking about from a motion control perspective, with multiple takes, can they be mixed and overlaid? He said he was thinking of from a VFX standpoint, but also for shooting dramas safely by shooting actors on different plates.
All right, and then doing playback while you're recording the opposite person's plate kind of idea?
I think so.
Okay. Yeah, the only way we can do that now is if, let's see. So for overlays, it'll only work with a still frame. To actually play a clip, you could play a clip off of a laptop in as a camera feed, as a source, as an option, because you can plug into our system by SDI or HDMI. So with a small adapter, you can go from a laptop to our system and use the laptop to pull up content and play it simultaneously with a live clip, for instance.
But we wouldn't be able to overlay, say,
it wouldn't be overlaid.
Footage from A cam on top of footage from B cam.
Right. No, we're not the solution for that. our main use cases around communication and being able to do very quick and easy playback for reference.
Yeah.
Well, we'll put that on the list. The list is ever growing.
Because one thing that we do see happen is that sort of scenario where there may be some light or preliminary VFX work where something like that does occur, say on you know, a VFX machine, and then that gets piped into our system for discussion. You know, how does this look? Oh, let's try this. So you can quickly make changes on the spot and then get feedback immediately from the roles on set.
Cool. Let's see. Oh, more questions.
Yeah.
Does it replace QTake? Yeah, it can replace QTake for playback for sure. Then on a union shoot, it would require an operator, video assist or VTR operator, depending on the union rules in your region. In Canada, it's a little bit different. Yeah, it's super, super easy to use. So we offer training as well. I don't know, Greg, can you talk about how easy it was to use? Like, how quickly did it take you to get up to speed?
I was mentioning about the whole play aspect of it. People figured it out within minutes by just messing around with it, knowing that they can't break it. You know, yeah, I feel the agency and client participants, they learn the system quicker than our tech did, which is good news because our tech was getting everything set up. But yeah, the learning curve was very, very simple.
Yeah, I'm always happy to hear that, because one of the things that we really try and do is keep it you know, as plug and play as possible. When it comes to having, like, whoever your operator is on set for connecting cameras, it's literally as easy as, you know, getting an SDI, or, you know, if you're using wireless, getting that Teradek. You just need to go out from whatever your outsource is and into our system, and it'll automatically configure itself and present that camera. If you need to switch things around, you can basically just start yanking cables and plugging them back in, and without any human intervention, it'll work basically in most situations. And when it comes to the offset, setting our system up for offset use, essentially once you connect that Ethernet cable, all of the connection work is done automatically. It's going to connect to our virtual private network, and then once a user in, you know, another country starts up our application on their tablet, it's going to automatically configure their connection to our VPN and securely start sending data. So as plug and play as possible is what we're going for.
And just to clarify too, the offset feature, the way it works currently is you physically mail a tablet to the offset user. So the person who's using it through the internet has one of our tablets physically to have it work. But what it does is we did this because it's much more secure and much higher performance. So if you can tell, if I go back to screen sharing for a second, the latency between onset and offset is really short. So even when I draw on the screen, if Nigel or Nathaniel draw on the screen as well, it's instant. You see the drawing, everyone else sees the drawing almost instantaneously. And the latency between, like, the live real world and this
If I'm
tablet.
talking here for a second there, Brian, I'll and if everybody just look at my hand, and then you can see it on the screen share. That's pretty fast. That's about 2 seconds.
So that's 2 second latency from the real world to offset, and it's even shorter than that when you're on set.
Yeah, it's about 300 milliseconds locally.
And I'll just mention one of the things that we do that in an attempt to make this, you know, as bulletproof and as plug and play as possible, is the video encoding that we're using to send our signal, and the protocols that we use to send that data basically is going to auto configure for each, you know, tablet. So if I have, you know, a poor connection here in Fredericton, then I'm going to, you know, it's going to degrade the signal just a little bit so that it can give me the best image that is possible with the speeds that I have. But if Brian in Charlottetown has a really great download speed, that is going to boost that signal for him and give him an even higher quality. But again, all this stuff is done in the background, and it's all done in an effort to just, let you be able to just pop open this application, get the best quality image from exactly the camera's perspective as we can give you.
That's one thing that since COVID has started and we've been talking to industry people, that's one of the biggest concerns about getting back to productions is how are we going to save time, and just because everything's getting pushed back and trying to save time and having less people on set is a really difficult task at hand. So one thing that we do talk about is the Onset Assistant giving you the ability to kind of work with less people on set, but also save time using visual communication in your day-to-day tasks.
And I think that's the biggest benefit too. And I think, Greg, maybe you can speak to this too, because I know on your last shoot that you used, I was talking to Richard about it, and he said on average you ended 1 to 2 hours earlier than you had scheduled.
Yeah, and that's never happened before in the history of our productions, and I never really thought of drawing the lines back to this, but now that I look at it, Brian, it makes total sense, because the amount of wasted time running down the stairs to talk, to explain and show clips or whatever it is, that stuff just adds up. Like one of the sets that we're on was on the 5th or maybe even like the 8th floor of an apartment building in Montreal, concrete, and down at the bottom was like a courtyard, and we had the whole video village and the client area on the other side of the courtyard, kind of in a separate building. And by the way, the signal was great back then, and I know it's better now, but I was just thinking the amount of travel back and forth for consultation you just can't do over a cell phone. We saved a ton of time with it, man, just because we're shooting in very tight situations. And now COVID means we're all going to be shooting in tight situations.
Right.
We can't have a bunch of people on set with us. So yeah, it's saving us time. That's awesome.
Right on. That's probably a good place to wrap this up. Thanks very much for your time. I really appreciate you joining. And we can definitely answer any of your other questions more directly if you want to reach out to us. When I send this video link, please feel free to reach out to us, and we can follow up at any time. See if we can get on your next project and help you save time and be more efficient on set and communicate at a distance. So just going to sign off now. Thanks, everyone. Really
Thanks, Brian. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nigel.
Thank you.
Daniel. Cheers,
Yeah,
guys.
good to see you again.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.